Hello, everyone. This is Duke Violation. I'm here with a lot of great community members, and our topic today is going to be based around player-owned towns. Player-owned towns are going to be the way that we're going to give you information about how to get the information we have. So when you are looking for when that next event comes, or how do I make this or that item, or any other piece of information you're looking to grab, talking to devs, so on and so forth, we're going to be trying to key you in on what we do to get what you want. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and let everybody introduce themselves so you know who's in the Hangout. Amber, go ahead.
All right, hey guys, it is Amber Rain, High Priest of Chaos, as you know, owner founder of Avatars Radio, as well as the Church of the Dark Star. And listening, actually, I have to say this, I am listening on a brand new Plantronics Rig headset, and just want to thank Star for the Chaos Star that was actually sent to me. So, hey guys, thanks for letting me join.
I suppose that means I'm up. Hey everyone, this is Brian Collins, aka Wrath Phoenix on the forums, Kazin Phoenix Fire in-game, head of the Phoenix Republic, also the Dean of the Novian Academy, which primarily focuses on teaching new avatars and old avatars alike things about the game, lore, history, etc. And also occasionally, really every week, starring with Amber and putting a little order in that chaos sermon that she does every week.
Hey, I'm Cicero, and I'm just a humble member of the Phoenix Republic. You may know me for my flaming appearances now and again at some of the events that have been held, and that's really all there is to me.
Sir Gallowan, you are up.
Greetings, everybody. This is Sir Gallowan, Knight Commander of the Phoenix Republic Army. That's all I have to say.
Materio?
All right, I'm next. My name is Matthew Bernard, better known as Material in the forums and in game. I am a member of the Phoenix Republic, an officer within. People might know me best for the Soda community application. That project was initiated a few months ago based on a need that I saw that I realized was not within the community. And that's more or less a centralized venue to get everything from news, IRC, information that the community relies on, the calendar. And so I came up with this idea to put together a team of app developers. It initiated as a iOS project, but there was an overwhelming desire to have it on the Android side. So we took that on, 4 individuals, myself and James Kidd, better known as Belgerin, took on the iOS side of the house. James Kidd and Belgerin and a guy named Umbre, that you know in the forums, took the Android side, and a good friend of us, of all of ours, is Bubonic, took on the graphics. And what you see is a combination of 4 individuals that took on a project and just saw it to fruition. And there'll be more to come as far as the future of the project. That's who I am.
Tech?
I am Tech. I'm Tech Fistenbeer in game, and I founded a player-owned town on the Siege Perilous server in Ultima Online back in the day. It's still around today, and so I'm a little bit familiar with that kind of thing, especially with the PvP, like open PvP shard, and also built a big city in Shadowbane, the very first city in Shadowbane, and I'm glad to be here, and I want to pitch in.
In Winfield, you're wrapping up.
Hi, I'm Winfield. I'm the governor of PAX Lair. We're player testing or dev testing the PAX Lair Player Owned Town Metropolis in Release 17. We're in the midst of that development right now, and we'll help them and everybody over time to help build the process for everybody to get their player-owned towns up and running. So we're the guinea pig, and I'm here to talk about being a guinea pig. Thanks.
Right on. So we are 2 minutes past schedule, so I'm going to kind of push through this a little quick. This next portion is basically going to be why I wanted to give you guys as the community a bit about the contact information. I feel like I see a lot of people get frustrated with the ways to deal with the developers and the way to deal with the rest of the community, and they feel like maybe we don't have the best community out in the gaming environment. And I think both of those are wrong. I think we have the best development team, and I think we have the best community. I think Shroud of the Avatar is breaking the mold every single day, and I think it's opportunity for the entire gaming market to learn and grow with what we as the community can do to empower game developers, fund game developers, and release them from what they've been stuck in for so long. So with that, I'm going to release some information about me. I am a father of 3 children. Number 4 is on the way. And right before my birthday last year, I was really stoked about this game I had heard about, Shroud of the Avatar, but I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford to back the $25 at the time, so I didn't. I didn't have a lot of money, and I was working my butt off, paying a lot of bills, and right before my birthday, I talked to my wife, and I got the $45 benefactor pledge. That's October of 2013, well after the game was funded. I got into IRC, and I was talking with this lovely developer that we have named Fire Lotus, and I was shocked because Fire Lotus was a community manager that was given a developer tag. And I've been part of a lot of different closed betas and beta tests before, and I've never seen a community manager be more than like a moderator or a second lackey that was kind of cast out from the side. But I was talking to Fire Lotus and getting all kinds of information about this game, and she felt like she was really part of the team. Not only that, but she was very helpful to me. It wasn't too long before I really felt like, hey, this has the right team in place. Portalarium has brought in enough people from the Ultima Online world that I used to love that I want to put more into this game. And I decided to go up to the Dev Plus level. And I sat at the Dev Plus level for a couple of months. And at that time, I started this project called SodaWiki. SodaWiki was because I saw a lot of people in IRC every single day asking for questions, and they would go on the forums and they would get 15 different versions of the same answer. Because you have a history of conversation when you search, I wanted to have only the relevant information come up first. The nice thing about a wiki is you can see the history of changes, but the page that comes up will only show the latest and most relevant information. I teamed up with the developers with one message in the forum saying, I want to make a wiki. And they said, great. We'll help you. What do you want? And I told them what I wanted. I said, I want access to using your guys' assets. And they said, well, you can't advertise if you're going to use our stuff because we don't own everything. Some of our assets we bought off of another store to use in our game, and we don't have the rights to share them out on the internet. That happened through Shroud of the Avatar forums, and I did that conversation with Darkstar. I thought that was really cool. The fact that I could get a hold of an executive producer on a forum as a very low-level backer, in my opinion, and get access to all these game assets, and they show me how to get in and get information that I didn't otherwise have. Anytime I had an answer that I wanted given to me, they would give to me for the wiki. All of this because I said I wanted to help. That was it. That's all I did. I said, I want to do this. So I started really believing in the project a lot. I went up to night. At night, I had some conversations over a Hangout with some of the developers, and people started to notice, hey, this violation guy. I started to come out in the community because of how passionate I was about the project. And my goal in coming out in the community was to be shoulder to shoulder with everyone else. I never really wanted to be somebody that was noticed. And it was brought to my attention a couple of months ago that that happened with or without me trying. My goal in coming out the community was to really be friends with everybody that you see here in this chat. And I love social games. I've played online games for a long time, and I love it. And as I started to go up and do more and more stuff, I had more and more of a passion to the game, so I upped my pledge. It didn't happen the other way around, and a lot of people feel like it did. A lot of people feel like this Duke Violation guy had money bags, and he came in, and he supported this game from the beginning, and he dropped all this money, and that's why he has all this access. But I can tell you right now, every piece of information we're going to share with you, you don't even have to be a backer to get. You can make a forum account, you can go into our websites, you can download our stuff, and you can never buy the game to get it. So if you want to try this game out, talk to somebody in the forums. There's giveaway access keys sometimes. If you have ever played an Ultima game in the past, I can't say any other way besides this will be the game for you. So that being said, yes, I did arrive at Duke. I have done quite a few things since then, but that's the beginning of my story, and I don't want to take forever to get you to the next person here. 3-ish minutes early, I believe. I'm going to hand it over to you, Materio, and I really want you guys to get a chance to, if you haven't seen this app in action, I want you to see this app. This is the Soda Community app by Materio and team. So take it away, sir.
Alrighty then. Well, I had to start off the meeting with a good Shiner Bach. So, anyways, again, my name is Matt, aka Materio. I'm going to demonstrate real quick, just to do a screen share of the application. All right. So here we are. Everybody has seen, well, a lot of people have seen the application at this point. We've had upwards to 150 iOS testers and I think 325 Android testers up until this point. It definitely made a splash when it came onto the scene, and I'm very happy for that because it's all about the community. This application at its core and energy that was put into it was for you, was for everybody that decided that they had interest in this game and wanted to partake or had an interest in partaking in some of the events that happen. So I'm just going to go through the general scenes here. This first scene here is our news feed. This is an RSS feed that's being pulled from Avatar's Circle. And if you were to click on one of these, it will bring you right to the web page. And mind you, this is demonstrated on an iPhone. You could pinch in, zoom around, swipe, use all those commands to see everything you need to see. So I'm going to go back to the main UI. The next scene I'd like to highlight is, of course, Avatar's radio. I will not turn it on at the moment, but if I were to, music plays loudly, and you'll see a title of the song. If there's a DJ that's currently discussing something on air, you'll see that they're on air and who's actually talking. And one thing I think is very important and at the core of a lot of the importance of this community is this support bar down here. If you click that, that goes to Avatar's Radio's Patreon. I encourage everyone to do that. The radio persists because of the community and the donations that are provided. IRC, which happens to be quite an important tool still to this day, we have within the application. You can sign in utilizing your currently registered IRC name. You put your name in, your password. It by default brings you to hashtag soda, but you could change that to go to any channel that you wish. Down here is the calendar. This is pulling the calendar events hosted by Duke Violation. So if you were to go down, you can scroll down, see what's on the horizon. If you want to look at a particular event for this day, let's look at the beach party by BMC. It gives you all the details. You can click on more details if you wanted to. Hell, if you were connected to a printer, you could print it out for the day. I think that's a pretty cool feature. Last but not least, what I wanted to showcase is the wiki of this application. Now, this is sort of phase one of the eventual wiki that I would like to see happen at some point in time. But for right now, I'm presenting what would be called in code language a web view to sodadb.com. It actually fits quite nicely within the application here. You can scroll down, take a look at the various submenus here, which I'll show you. Click on recipes, look at alchemy, and for example, you want to see what the recipe for a weapon cut sapphire is, you click on it, and lo and behold, there you go. 2 mandrake, root, chemical, mortar, and pestle. And of course, you need to have your uncut sapphire gem. So this is the application. Right now, this is currently being reviewed by Apple. It's 1.1. Previous version was 1.0. You'll notice that there's a missing app icon, and that's the maps. And I decided that I would take it out for right now because, as we all know, the game is in pre-alpha as of this date. And for me to asked the team of programmers that are a part of this project to constantly change the maps, recode things. I just didn't see that as sort of the most productive thing to do. I'd rather emphasize and invest the time with the team on things that we have control of. And right now, maps are changing, so that's eventually going to come, hopefully, but I don't want to make any promises. So that's the application as a demonstration. One thing that I'd like to discuss that I have not, that nobody knows about besides the internal programmers of the team, is that we're bringing this project both on the Android side and the iOS side to the public. We're actually going to be opening up the code. And if you have an interest in that, you can message me directly. You can post within the sticky posts that are in the Developer Depot on the site, on the forum, Shroud of the Avatar forum. And if you have a genuine interest to take the code and to build upon it and to contribute, let me know. I'd love to have you. So that's the application, that's the demonstration, and that's the big news as far as where we're going right now. There's only 4 of us. I'd love to have a whole collaboration of community members add into the app to it, to form it into make it into something much bigger than what we've put together. That'd be very satisfying for me. So that's all I got to say about that.
Awesome. Well, you actually did something there that keyed me into making a quick comment before I hand this over to Kazan here. I get probably once every other week, maybe once a month, requests for people to take the calendar off of Avatar Circle. To be as blunt with everybody as possible, I put it on Avatar Circle so there could be a joint effort from everyone, and I don't put the events on that calendar. Everybody contributes to those, so it's everybody's calendar. And what I would say is, absolutely anybody who wants access to that calendar, please use it, please grab it. It's awesome that it blows up and is used everywhere. You can view the source code, copy and paste my source code wherever you want it. And you can grab it from different time zones. I've got 5 different time zones on there, so you can pick the one that fits you the best. My thing would be respect the people who put the information in there. So if you have a war going on with the BMC Alliance, and you are the Bear Tavern Alliance, and the Bear Tavern Alliance goes on to grab the BMC calendar to sabotage them, I don't know how that's going to work out, and that's the only thing I look at as a potential downside of having everybody's information broadcast across the world. But that's the goal, right? I want everybody to have it. So if you are a designer, a coder, or just somebody who has a WordPress site that wants to copy-paste some stuff, go grab it. Get it out there. The more places that this calendar exists, the better. I'm not an exclusivist, so yeah. That being... Go ahead.
One last thing, just to add to what you just said. If people have a website or a news site of any type, and they want to have it within the application, of course, let me know. I'll do my best to go. I have to vet it, of course, make sure we're dealing with a site that has everything set up on the back end. But I am completely open to add in more news sites with RSS feed. I'm more than willing to add more calendars if need be. The way I see it is, the more the merrier. So just let me know, and it's at the core. This is about the community, so we're trying to, like, this app is all about that. We're combining everything that has been sort of parsed out to other places and other venues, and combining it so it's one source. But at the core of it, the community members drive this machine, and there's just some of us that put it together for you all.
So before I push this over, does anybody have any questions about functionality and usability of the app?
Yeah, I do. Just one little quick thing. What about the ability to add guilds, add your guild to the app, any like guild listing type thing?
Yeah. So there's a lot of ideas that that have come to the table with regard to guilds and whatnot. So I don't know if the app, if we're going to put a scene in this app for guild specific information. An idea that I've spun up and I'm sort of jotting down on a paper towel still is maybe putting together a new kind of app that's more guild or PvP/guild, or 2 different kinds of apps that are more driven towards that. That way the focus is and the intent of it is more obvious versus it's hidden underneath a scene somewhere. So It's all possible. Let's just put it that way.
Amber,
Go,
if you want
Amber.
to talk, now's the time.
Awesome. Thanks. Sorry, I just didn't want to interrupt anyone. I just want to put out good words on that app, and if you want it, make sure you get a hold of Material. As some have known, I have had to take moments, days away from the community not being able to be here. If it were not for that app, one, I would not be able to hear the radio. Awesome, awesome work on that. Two, IRC would not be available to me. So many different things with this app is just wonderful. So definitely make sure you get it, keep it updated, and kudos to Matt because it's freaking awesome.
Anybody else with a functionality comment about the app? Hey, Winfield, can you say that out loud so all the viewers can hear it and then he can answer it?
Sure, Buddy Winfield here. Matt, how do we reach you for ideas and collaborate with you?
Yeah, so known as Material on the forums. You can find me there. Or if you wanted to send me an email, it's material@hotmail.com. That's really the best way. We're in game. If I happen to be in game name's Material too. And that's Matterio. And I'm easily found. Or you could, one other way, I always hang out in the Avatars Radio IRC, and I tend to be over in the Phoenix Republic's TeamSpeak or Avatar Radio's TeamSpeak. So just gotta find me.
I have a comment on the app. It doesn't work well with older Samsung devices. I don't know about the new ones yet that run Android. So just my 2 cents.
Yeah, so we've gathered a lot of information in the test and in the developments of the app, both on the iOS and the Android side. So with future releases, I think we have enough information to improve the functionality. Of course, there's going to be a legacy sort of stop where we can support certain phones and not. But I think the phone you're talking about, with just a little bit of a revision of the code, we're going to be able to get that up in tip-top shape.
All right, now I have a slam bang surprise for you, Materio. I want to know if you are going to add chocolate chip cookie recipes to the app anytime soon in Runic. Are those going to be available for the public through this app?
Geez, I might have to get a Secret Squirrel beta test group, so I don't know, we might have to talk offline for that, or make that as some Easter egg hidden functionality somewhere within the app. Hints, hints.
All right, so without taking too much longer here, I want to push this over to probably the #1 request I get personally that I have to field is about the calendars. And a lot of people are struggling right now. Just to let you know, Portalarium has been talking to me over the past 3 months about how to better work with these calendars. And 3 months ago, they gave me the ability to start copy-pasting the content from the calendar and giving it to them in the form of a book to put in the game because people wanted something in the game they could see, and they didn't have the code to rip from the calendars. I know that they are working with Port Phoenix. I know that they're working with Kaizen with these events right now, and they're working to try to make this information as easy as they can, but this is still really early right now, okay? This game is so early that most developers that I know wouldn't be willing to show it to the public at the phase that it is right now. So keep that in mind, and we're trying to use it to play for an everyday game, so we're trying to create content to fill a game that doesn't actually have much content, and then we're trying to get the information about the content we created out. So this next little portion here, what I really want to do is I want to have Wrath/Kaizen. I would like to have him go over what his next event is and show everybody how to get that information in at least one method. So, hey, take it away, bud.
Sure. Yeah, hey guys, obviously Kaz and Wrath here. Events are, I think, pretty much the lifeblood of this game. So I think that you were talking about the calendar and everything earlier, and I think that the calendar is a really important piece of the puzzle that draws everybody together. And there's been more than one time in events that I or Amber or other people that have been at these events, and they've basically said, look, there's not as much to do in the game because it's early, like you said, And if it wasn't for these events, then I wouldn't be here past this time. So the question is how to get to them. So I'm going to share the screen here. If I can find what's that. So I'm going to share a screen here with a couple of tabs. And this here is one of the calendars, which you can find at sodaevents.com. This calendar is originally started by some members of BMC and some other folks, and this shows a little bit more graphical version of the calendar, but it definitely has some events that are listed here. And if you don't have that, then you don't want to go to that, you also can go to Avatar Circle. By going to avatarcircle.com and then going over to the Events tab, you actually can see the calendar, which we've seen a few times since we started talking here. So, whenever you go to these calendars, you look down, just find the dates and times that, of all the events that are happening, and kind of, find something that suits you. There's PvP, there's PvE, there's role-play events, dance parties, anything that interests you in this community, you could probably find it on one of these two calendars. Now, as for what my next event is actually going to be, it's kind of funny because we've been prototyping. Oh, that's funny. Well, I can't. I'm doing the stream that's actually on Google, and it won't actually bring up a second tab to share. Yep. But the next event that we're actually holding, we've been prototyping an idea, and we're going to try to have it out this weekend. So I'm going to probably put that on the schedule by the end of the day. And this next weekend, we're actually going to be holding an event that's basically a game show that mixes a little bit of Let's Make a Deal with a little bit of Minesweeper. So, and it's an all-inclusive elimination game that will include prizes, include real prizes, by the way. The grand prize is going to be a $5 gift card to the Shroud of the Avatar store. And this game I'm hoping will bring people together. But this particular game show will also has the ability for you to get eliminated. So you have to choose whether or not to keep going and keep the prizes you have, and have the possibility of getting eliminated and lose the prizes. So I'll put that up there and hope everybody comes out next weekend.
So, out of curiosity, just so I can throw I think the one other method that is there that didn't get mentioned, how much of your guys' stuff do you cross-post in the forums as well?
I post a couple of things in the forums now and then, but I have to admit that I'm horrible personally with the forums.
I am as well.
I don't post a lot of things on the forums because I like having the calendars. I like having a central place that I can just flip to and like what's going on.
And see all of it in one view, yeah.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people live the forums, and there is a sub-forum for community events in each release that you can go to. But the calendar, both in-game and on the websites, tends to be a really good quick reference point. You don't have to dig through various posts.
I'm actually, if you're okay with it, I'm going to share off that forum view real quick and show that to people. So I'm going to come down here, and you get this player events sub-forum, and then inside there you can look at the current release, and you can get the different events that people have made thread posts about. I'm really bad at this as well. I think a forum is a terrible place to go for a calendar, but that being said, it's another method that a lot of people do like to use, so it's good for people to know.
I would also like to say, because Amber mentioned this, if you're in game, tune into the radio, using the radio. I think the top and bottom of the hour, a lot of times they're announcing what events are coming on. So there's no shortage of ways that you can find out what's happening in the community.
That's so true.
Awesome.
And you don't always have to be seated at your computer to find out these events, with the app. You could be in your car driving home from work. You could hear Amber talking about an event, or Kazin for that matter. I happened to do that yesterday with the great speech about not being a certain kind of... So, yeah.
So, if anybody has a comment to make about the calendar's functionality or usability there, please go ahead and throw that out.
Yes, I love the calendar on the Phoenix Republic page and the Avatar Circle page. Avatar Circle handles everything. Phoenix Republic, of course, is specific to the Republic stuff. But Avatar Circle, I have found that all the information I need is there. And if it's not there, I'll go find the group and find out what went on, like somebody oversleeping.
All right, all right, all right, all right, all right.
Burn.
So I'm gonna take a moment to do a little unscheduled pause here, and I actually want to show something off. And it is how I believe the community works together. Okay, and this isn't true about everybody here. I want to be very clear. Out of the 99 percentiles, this is true. There's going to be a 1 percentile that don't work well. But that being said, basically everybody you deal with, if you ask them for something, they should give it to you. And one of the things that I wanted to show off right now is nbnn.info. They're putting together like this big collective stream feed, and they talked to me about utilizing the calendar. And essentially the same calendar that you see on Avatar Circle is over here on the right of their page. And it's the exact same calendar. They literally copy-pasted the code over. And they were nice enough to talk to me about it first, but I just want to put the public offer out there. You can do this without asking me, and I don't care. So if anybody wants this calendar on their guild website to make it easier for their members, great, take it. I don't care. If anybody's starting up a fan site like NBN Info did, take it. I don't care. I mean, I can't say this any other way besides the easier you guys access the information, the better it is for everybody. And that was my end goal. I do want to pause for a second before we get into Winfield's player-owned town piece here, and I want to do a little segue handoff. So Winfield has something around his neck, and I want to ask him to talk about it. But before he does, I want to talk about something in my hand and on my head. So I'm a big, big fan of community stuff. Our community all wanted to have swag. They wanted items, physical stuff you can touch and hold, that reminded us of this crazy guy, Richard Garriott, that came out with a video game inside of a box with cool swag. And every publisher out there said, no, we don't want to, we're not going to, yada yada, but he did it anyway, and those of us who are diehard fans love him for it. So talking about swag with Soda, it was kind of hard to get a hold of some of that swag. So one of the guys that's out there that gives out officially licensed swag for an affordable rate is Relics by Rild. And I'm going to share this site real quick, and then I'm going to show you some of his swag. So Relics by Rild, very easy to go through. You essentially can just click on whatever you want and buy it, and you can request PayPal. So the hat I have on my head right now is from this site. I don't think he has the exact one I'm wearing. Maybe this is it. I don't know. No, this is a gray version. I have a black one. So, but I mean, this is where I get any of my swag from, including this cool little coin that I have. You know, this is I'm going to challenge Lord British himself, and I'm going to do it with the Dark Star emblem because I know that's his like kryptonite. So, no, anyway, fun stuff to hold. You know, we all want keepsakes. It helps us remember what's going on. So I wanted to point that out, and then I wanted to ask Winfield to talk about what's on his neck, and then if you could, sir, take it into your piece on player-owned towns.
Well, hey, I just want to say real quick, I got some of those coins as well, and they're really well crafted coins. Those are awesome challenge coins.
High quality. I did the pack of 3, and I gave one of them to my mom and brother for Christmas, and I kept one myself, and they're really nice coins.
And I must admit, I just bought those beer mugs, so I got 2 of those coming.
I would also like to point out something that was just released on Twitter, and I'm not sure if he's posted it on other places, but there is another coin that is in the mix. It will be hitting Relics by Rild, and I'm really excited about it. Again, crafted by Sir Frank, and he does fantastic quality. I have also several of the coins. I just bought a set of each of the glasses, so 6 of each, because you can't just have one. So yeah, all the stuff there is fantastic. Even the beanie I'm wearing right now that you can't see because I'm a pulsating spoon, great quality.
Winfield, all you, if you want to talk about your necklace.
Okay, great. On the add-on store, you saw that they ran out of stock, or whatever it was, for the serpent replica in the add-on store, but Duke Gregor and his wife at gemtreasuresdesign.com. Gemtreasuresdesign.com has this for sale. They craft this. It's been approved by Lord British. It is actually, they give you a certificate that we had a few of these signed by not Lord British, but Richard Garriott. Actually, Richard Garriott signed these for these certificates for when these pendants come out. And they actually he compared this with his serpent around his neck at the last VIP, and it's extremely close to the exact replica. So it's a real treasure to see the player community start putting things together, the dice that Style puts out, and just so many things going around the community to make things. I just want to say thanks to everybody for trying to make things that you can actually touch and hold. And I got fireballs from the Hobloth and my bandana and everything else. So this is great. These are great keepsakes. So I just wanted to say that, and thanks to everybody for doing such great things. Oh, and now you want to talk about player towns, I guess?
Yeah, can you segue into your prologue on player-owned towns and then let us know when it's going interactive?
Oh, for the Q&A portion. Okay, so let me tell you a little about player-owned towns from the perspective of a player-owned town owner, which is me, Winfield. So I have a metropolis that I bought, and it's going to be called Pax Lair, P-A-X-L-A-I-R, meaning Peace Place. So we are 17 plus years old in Ultima Online, and about over a year ago, Lord British remembered us from Chesapeake Shard. He had actually visited there in 1998, and then I had seen him in 2007 in Austin at a Ultima Online hangout there in Austin, and we gave him a presentation of a plaque of the Pax Lair town visual design and everything in Ultima Online. So he remembered us, and we started talking way back then. He says, well, Winfield, what do you think about the ideas of player-owned towns in Shroud of the Avatar? I said, absolutely. That's really why I'm here. That's why I'm backing the game. It's what we like to do. We like to build things. But in Ultima Online, we had no control over things. We had no idea of, everybody could build wherever they wanted. So we thought, well, if we had a little bit more control over how we could build and where we could build and who we could associate with and how we wanted to have an environment, then it would be great. It would be a perfect thing to have for towns and build towns. So that's when they came out with ideas with a lot of community interaction for things called player-owned towns, and those have been purchased. Almost 200 have been purchased, up to 200 over the next couple of weeks or months. And those have been purchased in the add-on store, the online store. So now, in preparing for Release 17, they wanted to choose a town to be the guinea pig, be the prototype, figure out how things are done, and they chose Pax Lair, probably because we were one of the first to purchase one of the scenes, but we also had this long history of building player towns. So we're humbled for that. So now we went forward, and they said, okay, now start submitting your information of how you would want your scene designed. And, oh, by the way, halfway through this submission of things, they said, oh, we have this great idea. Let's make your town into a template. It's not going to be just your town. It's everybody can reuse your town. Like, oh, okay, so exactly where I want my buildings and stuff may not quite work anymore because other people want buildings in other places. And so everything that we did, we said, yes, Pax Lair, everything is reusable. Everything is obtainable or usable by other player-owned towns. And these, you Portallarium guys just have to come up with rules on how they can reuse this template for a frosty scene, a wooded scene, a desert scene, however you guys want to do that. So I said, we're all in to help just build some ideas for how to do a template, and then turn it into Pax Lair, and then you guys can turn it into another one and another one and another one. So I would like to go through fairly quickly a bunch of screenshots that I have of how we built the template. Now, I just went through this with another community earlier today, and it took 45 minutes of presentation and questions and answers. So we probably don't have that amount of time here. We may want to do this in another Hangout at some time in more detail. But let me show you how I kind of approached the PAX layer design, working with the developers, and what their expectations are and what our expectations were. So I'm going to do a screen share here. And it's going to be starting with this map, if everybody can see it. And I know it takes about 4 seconds to render out. This is the 1.5 or 1 hour paint shop, or not even that, MS Paint diagram I sent to Richard Garriott over a year ago. This is what PAX layer could look like. Because he tweeted me, I figured I'd get back to him real fast. This is what PAX layer could look like in Shroud of the Avatar. He replied back and said, great, let's keep pressing on, keep communicating. You know, Richard's really good at all that. So then it's like, okay, if we were to be serious about this, we need a flat piece of two-dimensional, where's the water, where's the land? So we did that in, and Ashlyn is our map maker, and that's how she started. Where's this basic stuff at? And then you have to add a third dimension to the idea of your map, is what are you going to see in three-dimensional space? You know, where are these, and then you can even figure out which directions the sun is going to rise, how the shadows are going to appear in the morning and in the evening. And so we did that. Then it's like, okay, let's add more of a biome to it. Now, we could have chosen desert or whatever. We like forests. PAX layer in Old Britannia is in forests. So we threw in trees, and they're kind of random. Actually, these are not so random because we actually had a lot of roads and things. Then we filled in trees around them and cut them out. But basically, we had a forested area. And then it's like, okay, we started getting with the rules that Portalarium expected, and that is, okay, let's clump together all of the NPC buildings. And that's pretty much what you see kind of in the building central area. And where's your town square going to be, and kind of where are your roads going to be, and all of that. Now, everybody's not going to be able to choose that. This is building the template. We're still at the building a template level of what a template. Now, this is metropolis size. It's 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. And as I understand it, everything down to a holdfast will get 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer space. It's just where do you want your housing as you reuse these templates. Now, when they started saying, okay, to put your lots on, they said, let's use city-size lots as the template area. And then you could subdivide the lots into towns, villages, row houses, combine city lots, nice flat spaces, into keeps and castles. So we're like, okay, so basically that one-off row house I have out on an island isn't going to work. I have to put a city lot on the island and then put one little row lot on that city lot. So the city lots you'll see next, which is right here, as it renders out after about 4 seconds and becomes focused for you. This is the template. This is the template that we ended up creating. This currently does not have any PAX layer housing on it other than the NPC buildings. This is all template. So you can see that there are various places in here in the template we built. I'll zoom in a little bit, and it'll also take 4 seconds to kind of come in focus. But a castle can go here. A duke keep can go here. A castle can go down here. Lighthouses over here. Actually, over on this side, another duke keep can go over here. They can put duke keeps out in the water. They can actually build islands quickly for dukes. This is an island we wanted to have terraformed in with a city lot on there, with a city lot on the water lot. This is another place up on this mountain for another castle, duke keep, or carved up however we want. We have a downtown area that we want to have more as a market area and a government area and places for row houses, lots of row houses. We have an area over here that's fairly open, which you'll actually see as a special area for our ruins of PAX layer from Old Britannia. And depending on the size of the metropolis, town, crossroads, whatever, they haven't made any rules yet. It's possible that each of our towns could get some specialized things within it to make it unique, like you want a boulder named after you or something. I don't know. We just said, we request to have some ruins there from our old town. Over here on the far right, we recently added these, and you'll see that Paxlayer uses all this space to make one village lot. That's all we select out of that. Now what happens is if you don't use all of these template locations, it simply is a flat piece of land, and it has the biome on top of a bunch of trees. Okay, so if you choose to use this template, but not choose to put any housing carved up in these areas, then it's just flat land with the trees or the rocks or whatever happens to be the default area. So we've got a waterfall in there.
Do you mind if I ask you a question here real quick before you change that view too much?
Go right ahead.
First I make the comment that anybody in the Hangout, he mentioned he'd be okay with questions during this part, but I noticed you have that carved in the template to where the lot outline runs over the roads. Will the texture on terrain alter, like I haven't really seen it alter in the game, to make roads disappear when lots are claimed?
The answer is probably no, and they do not want roads like here. That's my mistake. They do not want roads underneath these lots. So for up here, I had originally had a road running through here because I'm not going to use this for a castle. And they said, no, make the road go around. And so you can see the principle is that things that are roads and kind of man-made should be outside of the template area. Now here, this is all cobblestone. So the default texture in this market area is going to be all cobblestone. But there's not like passageways through there made into roads. So where you see some of these overlaps, I just not have cleaned up the diagram for that.
Excellent, thank you.
Hey, I got a quick question too.
Yes.
You said each town is a 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer hex, right?
That is the size of the template they are willing to make for these templates.
So
exactly.
all towns are like this. Does that mean that, like, say you just have Holdfast, but it's 1K by 1K? Does that mean it leaves room for upgrading in the future for all towns?
Oh, that is a perfect question, and yes, they want to be able to do that. They haven't figured out how yet, but with these flat spaces. And I'll zoom out here. Let's say you built your Holdfast to just take up the central region of town where the NPC buildings are. But later you wanted to expand. Well, your scene has all these blank spaces that are flat. Okay? And in Unity, these are another layer where they can add more buildings later for you if you purchase more building space. So the concept of this is upgradability over time, not for episode 1. But the idea is this allows for expansion packs, perhaps later on, that they could offer to us if we embrace these template ideas.
And is all that open? Like, if you have a Holdfast, but you still could walk all the way out to 1 kilometers by 1 kilometers? Is it all open space, or is it closed off?
They will work with you on that because, as I understand it, they don't want to make it where you have to walk from the entrance down here in the southwest to get to your one set of houses up here over here. So you could ask that the entry exit be closer. You may still be able to see things at a distance but not get there. They may be able to give this more forest in those areas that are not populated. Those are all very to be determined kind of things. They know the questions. I've asked the questions. They love the questions, and they love the idea of using this for all types of scenes that kind of fit this geography. And they don't want to make your scene look ugly. If it's a Holdfast up here on the mountain, and you have all this flat stuff with roads that kind of go, and it looks like out in the desert where they've built communities and no one ever moved in. They don't want that for you. So they may even be able to block off areas where when you get to it, it'll be a wall of trees, and you can just kind of see things in a distance if you're up high. Really don't know. That'll be probably as they build things into the Release 18 preparation, they look at how they can reuse this Paxlayer template and make several scenes out of it. So I just don't know the answer, but those are the concepts.
Amber said she had a question.
Yeah, my question is really simple because I'm hoping that it's possible with Radio City that we're going to have multi-biomes. Now, I noticed that you said part of it was forest, part of it's cobblestone, part of it's this. Is there any plans on allowing multiple biomes on one, or are you going to have to go, I just want it to be all forest or all one certain thing?
So when they asked what biome this was, I said first it's forest. Over 75% of this is forest. Then I said, oh, it's kind of hilly, so it has some mountains, and then it has some water, and then it's on a coastal region. So I said the biome is forest, so that kind of helps them put it on the map somewhere where you're not in the middle of a desert. And then it's like, oh, I want to be on a coastal line, so my sub-biomes, whatever you want to call them, I specified in the questionnaire that they're building for us to answer, is my primary biome is forest. Okay, that gets me close in a region. Now I want to have a river. I want to be on the ocean. So those are sub things that they will try to meet. And obviously, if you pick a template, you say this is my preferred template. It comes with some of those features. But even the Paxler template could be turned completely desert, where the rivers are and the lakes are. They're going to go ahead and put texture and scene underneath that, so they could be ravines in a complete desert scenario. But they don't have to actually change anything other than wipe the textures off the biome. So short answer is multiple biomes are possible, because nothing is always just all forest or something.
I'm going to jump in here and ask a question from Envy, and then I'm going to turn it to Jake, and then I'm going to ask a couple more questions. Envy asks if there's been any talk about undergrounds, and I know that there has, so if you can answer that real quick, Winfield.
Yeah, so they're definitely looking at underground cities, underground player-owned towns. They have concepts for it. They have concepts for how they can roof these things in. So they're definitely looking at it. It's going to be a possibility. It's going to be a probability. They're working on the technical for that. They're working on how the houses would go in. It's just a matter of time for them to get to those specific things. They've looked at some of the templates that were printed out from one of the player design threads that we have in the open forum, and they looked at it and said, oh, this is an underground. This looks really neat. Yeah. So they're really excited about doing some underground scenes.
Jake, you want to ask yours?
Yeah. Can you explain like those lots you have out there in the ocean right there? Can you those are lots that you might like in the future you'd be able to actually use? It's like they're just there for different biomes. So like if it's like a desert biome, then since there's not going to be any water there, then you'll be able to actually have buildings there. Or can you just explain that?
Yeah, that's a good question. These are water lots, and these would be water galleons and water city lots that could be put up. So if you change the biome, that's a very good question. You change the biome to desert, you remove all the water, you can't have water lots along here. So those would essentially, I think, go away. Now, if they make underneath the water some flat spaces for these, then that's another thing. It's another modification of this template to be reusable better in another biome. That's a really good question that I didn't even think about. They were just thinking about wipe the water out and you can just maybe walk down there, but now there might be flat spaces they should put in there for a desert or a non-water biome use of this template. So I just don't know.
Couple more questions here. Grimace says the blessing system has statues. How does that integrate with the template?
Okay, so the blessing system has statues. So there are 15 NPC items here, houses for the metropolis, of which 12 of them are buildings, and 3 of them I've selected to be monuments, statues, that kind of thing. And this is where presumably the advancements would go in for the town as we advance and that sort of thing. So these are you would pick the places where you'd have those, presumably towards the center of your town, and that's where that feature, once it's put in, people would be able to access those features.
And apologizing if I say this wrong. HRAW, HRAW. Is it known if any other player-owned towns will copy this layout, or is it just a possibility?
Oh, I think all 200 towns should copy this one. Make it life easy. Just everybody use this one. You know, simple answer. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, I do think there's some other player-owned towns looking at this scene for reusability. That's the intent. And some of the other scenes that are being designed right now or being proposed by players already have like 10 or 12 player-owned towns kind of backing that template design on our player town design thread and saying, yeah, I would use that island scene for the basis of my town. So the more we look at reusability, the better off we are. Specifically for this Pax Lair one, I think 1 or 2 towns are interested. I just don't know the details yet.
I want to try to tailor this just a touch. Do you mind if I ask you to share a method of communication that anybody, including a non-backer, might be able to use to ask questions about these player-owned towns with either the community or the dev team?
Sure, I can do that. Let me go back to regular video here. Can you see me all right?
Yep.
Okay, so to be able to communicate with developers on your ideas is you can do it in many ways. One is through the regular forums. Create a forum thread, and I think what they look for, and if I were them, and what I look for if I were a designer, is some decent thought to your ideas and clear statement of what the ideas are. If you want your ideas kind of out there, then we got somebody with an open mic. I don't know who it is. Here we go. So the idea is that the developers kind of try to read everything, but they can't read everything. So people helping them look in the right places, or there's a thread that is popular, or it has some really decently laid out ideas and someone alerts them to them, they'll start looking. So you don't have to be Dev Plus to get your ideas into the developers. Also, you can go to the keep an eye on their calendar and go visit them at the trade shows that they go to, the fairs. So they came down here to San Antonio, where I live, and they were at PAX South. It wasn't PAX Lair South, but it should have been called PAX Lair South, but it wasn't. But it's called PAX South, and they were down here doing the. They were in the Microsoft booth. So I showed up and I said, and they knew me, but I said, I'm one of your backers, and can I help? They said, oh yeah, if you just sit here and play the game and demonstrate it to all these people, that would be fantastic. And so they let me play the game right in their space there, and a whole bunch of people around. And I got so excited about it, I stayed all 3 days. And so I felt like part of their team. I was up there talking to Richard and Star on Friday when they were there. And so just by hanging out with them, not being a nuisance, remember, they're trying to give the best impression of the game, and I was too, because I'm one of the backers. So it's easy to find them at these things. I went to some of the panel discussions that Star, Richard, and Tracy Hickman were at up in Austin. So keep an eye on where they're gathering, and take the opportunity to drive 2 hours to get there if you can. It's well worth it, and who knows, you may even end up going out to dinner with them if they're hungry too. So it's just they're real easy people to work with.
Sir Galloway, go ahead. You said you had a comment?
Yes, about the player rundowns, y'all didn't get into. The pre-made towns that Shroud's already got in, that a group or a guild or whatever can inhabit the entire town, and therefore it's a player-run town. You don't have to have a player-owned town. I mean, it's nice. I mean, Fort Phoenix is going to be a POT, but I do have a couple of comments about it. The POT that we're going to use is a variant on the Pax Lair layout, as Brian said. I mean, he's not talking, but he typed it. You know, there's advantages to both. advantages to the POT is, of course, you can lay out the town you want the way you want it, and the PRT is laid out. You just have to select where you put your houses and your NPC buildings. Just, and have a guard force for it, so I'm recruiting for guards. Anybody who wants to join the Republic Guard and all our mini towns, contact me in-game. I'm still Sir Galwin. So you can contact me in-game that way too. But I've enjoyed the information you're sharing. Of course, I love hearing Amber's voice wherever she is. But that's about my 2 cents.
Awesome. I do want to jump in if you're okay with it, because we're running at the hour point and I want to move forward. Did you have any other questions or comments on that? Because I've got 3 queued up from other people, is why I ask.
Who are you talking to?
Sir Gallowan.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So Envy says, given the current state, is there any point in players who own player-owned towns creating their own map, or is it best to wait for the templates?
No, I would go all over proposing ideas. Because what's going to happen, I think, in Release 18, they're going to start looking at ideas for templates. So right now, they're using Paxlayer to help, and using me to a degree to help get the word out of how templates will work. So in R18, I'm guessing, and they haven't really told me exactly the exact timeline they're on, other than Release 18, they're going to build the process of how to submit, how to receive information from every owner, how to figure out what template a owner wants to use, and they're going to make more templates and more towns of some kind before Release 18. So they're going to test out more, and so the timing is right before Release 18 to them to have a whole bunch of templates to look at that are proposed by the community. Using the city lot space like I've shown with the different elevations, even if you can say, hey, I've got 5 other player-owned towns that are interested in this template, that might increase the probability of them saying, okay, let's go with that one. That's something unique we haven't done before, and therefore we can go with that. So if you wait too long to publicize your ideas, or now there's no entry point to just send this stuff to Starlong or something like that. If you're want to work a one-on-one with them, they'll work with you, but they just don't have a lot of time. So therefore, they just want to see what kind of things the community can come up with. And I've taken up printouts of everything I've seen on some of the threads, and they have a booklet of that right now with some of your ideas that you've made public, and they have that to look through and say over time and say, okay, now we're going to sit down and look at 20 different ideas for templates, and let's see if we can consolidate a few and cover what these people want. I think that's, if you think from their point of view, they want a lot of ideas sooner than later, so that they don't have to make it all up on their own. It significantly helped them to make a scene where they didn't have to scratch their heads and think about what we wanted. It was easier for them to take the scene I made, because that's what I wanted, and go, oh, let's just do that, and then make it reusable for everybody as best we can. So don't be bashful about putting stuff in sooner than later.
I would actually, if you're okay with it, like to screen share your forum thread on the Paxlayer Player-Owned Town. Is that okay?
That's fine, absolutely.
So let's say there's 150 to maybe 200 player-owned towns right now, something around there. So what if all of the player-owned town owners request, we all want water lots. We want water somewhere, so we have water lots. So basically, are they guaranteed to get water lots, even though it doesn't maybe make sense on the world map? Or has that ever came up at all? Like, is there a chance basically that, look, it doesn't make sense to the map, this is a quadrant that you got, we can't have water there, so you're kind of denied water, or not?
They're going to look for balance, but I don't think they're going to, up front deny anybody any of their desires initially. They're going to have to triage this stuff, sort it out. If 150 water lot scenes came in, they might go, maybe we ought to modify the Novian landscape. to be a water world. I don't know. I'm just guessing. And so I think we just have to assume that they're going to take our input, and if they cannot meet that exact thing, they'll tell us through the questionnaire process for the design session, which is a questionnaire. And then if they can meet our needs in the questionnaire, they probably won't even talk to us other than, hey, we got it, and then here's your scene. If they have questions or complications, then they may have to interact with us during that design session or feedback between us. So I think try to put in whatever you can and see how creative they can be.
Envy has another question. It is a pretty good one here. Is it still the intent to be able to connect player-owned towns?
Oh, we've got. I have some dialogue on that. So if Envy can hang around towards the end of my little screenshot thing, that'll be answered when I talk about where Pax Lair is going to be in Novia, we think, and how we're going to have 4 towns connected to it. Is that okay?
Yeah, that'd be fine if we queue that one for later. We have one from Valen about, can you make your towns PvP only and turn it into a Mad Max Thunderdome? Maybe while you're fielding this question, if you could also field kind of the what R17 in this test is looking for in the method of development and what is still waiting to be developed, if that makes sense.
Okay, let me go back to my screenshots. And I'll talk about how the scene of Pax Lair can be reused for a massive PvP, capture the flag, Mad Max. It's kind of really cool. So let me get to the, let me go back to that, where we left off. So I knew there would be a lot of questions when I got to this point, and I don't mind because we have to realize that a template has to be used, and this is the template alpha, or whatever we want to call it, that we're using for Pax Lair. So now what we do is we divide up those city lots, those red lots, that are just placeholders for where we can put housing. And we can chop up those lots properly into, use the whole thing as a city lot, 2 town lots, 1 town lot, 1 village, 4 village, 8 rows, 12 rows, but not 16 rows. So you can't put 16 row lots in there because you'd have to take out one of these rows to be 16 row lot or 12 row lots, because you can't overlap front doors to each other. You never be able to get in. You can't just kind of change the position of the of an item in there and turn it 15 degrees. You can't stick something in the middle where it really belongs in the corner. So these things will snap in quickly for the devs, and they won't have to spend a lot of time on that, which is good. So then here's how we carved up Pax Lair. Let this render out a little bit. Take about 4 seconds to come into view. So you can see there's a lot of yellow lots we did not use. Those are water lots. There's portions of red lots we did not use, especially here on the east side. This looks like we're not using it, but that's the castle. And downtown we chopped up into a bunch of row lots. So we're able to use this for the specific Pax Lair desire is going through a template process. We divided things up. So in the center of town here, and that'll come into focus, is I've got, this is Market Village. So I've got a town lot, some villages, a bunch of row houses. Out here on the wharf, we've chosen to use some row or water lots. We've got a bar going in there, but I'm not using these other locations. Now, for the most part, if you don't use these locations, you won't even know there's anything there. But there's some geography that can't be removed from the main geography scene. There may be a little square or a straight 4-meter component on these water lots that kind of looks a little off, but that's how it becomes reusable. For anything that's not used in here, it'll just take whatever is underneath that scene, underneath those lots, and that'll be what it is when it's bare and not used. The biggest example is over here, where this could be 4 Duke Keeps over here, and we chose to put just one village lot over here where I could have 4 Duke keeps. This row right here we just put in at the end, which is an alleyway. I could have row lots all along here, and I could make the dark alley kind of thing, and that was a dark alley of row lots, and I could get you know, like a pair of row lots and a single set of row lots. If you want to go crazy on row lots, this would be a fun place to do it. So anyway, so that is the concept of carving these up. Here's a case by the castle. If you want to role play castle environment, you could make this your hamlet. You could make a bunch of row houses there. This is your castle as the lord of the manor, and these are all the businesses supporting the castle. You could point the castle either north or south, your choice, and you fill in these lots and you have a complete role-playing castle village, Castleton or better, that you could role-play with your group out of this scene. So that's how those are divided up. Now the end result, when you take away all the stuff I didn't use of the options, it ends up looking, pretty good. When you're at ground level, things don't feel as boxy as they look vertically. When I go out here, I only see the one village lot, and all of this will be flat space. Okay, it won't be rolling hills because these are pre-designed as flat places for everybody to reuse, and it'll fill in with trees naturally from the biome, and that's what the scene would look like there. Then I go ahead and I add my neighborhood names to it, which they don't probably really care about, but I will because I want to live in Ridgecrest or at Fishhook Lake. I add in my streets that I will define in my template or my scene. This is, either in episode 2 or episode 1, who knows. I may eventually get street signs in Player Owned Town. I know they're working on them now for the NPC towns. So we'd be able to have addresses for this row house is on alleyway, and it's row house number 7 or something on alleyway. So we have to really just, once we get a series of templates we can use, we can then design our towns for the all-call questionnaire that we're going to all receive post-release 18. And then, okay, so now we get into multiple Envy's question. This is multiple scenes connected to one scene. So this is how a town cluster works. So on the town map, what we have planned for Pax Lair is a single icon for Pax Lair. It is actually 5 scenes. So in order to get to the other 4 scenes, you have to enter Pax Lair first, and that will be down here in the southwest corner. You can then travel to somewhere and get down to a cave. I'll zoom in. You can somehow travel to get down to this cave, which will be a very small cave. They can't make these massive caves because of the way Unity builds geography. It's a flat geography, and you got to build items on top of it to make it look like a cave without it crashing down in your head. So I can go in a few feet, a few meters, and then it'll transfer me to Dragon's Watch. Dragon's Watch will be a hold fast or whatever size it is, and that'll be our PvP scene for Pax Lair. So in order to get to the PvP scene in Pax Lair, you got to go through the non-PvP portion of Pax Lair, which is the main scene. You go into Dragon's Watch and you knock each other out. We will try to protect that area. It'll be a training area, all that kind of stuff. There's other scenes here as well. So if you want to get to Tenakill, which is another sub-scene, it'll be out Forest March Road. If you want to get to Golden Cove, which will be an island scene, you'll go on one of these boats, just like out of Kingsport. You'll be able to get to another island scene, just like we do out of Kingsport now. So these are, and then we have a final one, Lockbrier, in the upper right corner. So this is a way to have a town cluster. So let me go through here now. On the Novian map, we were able, the minimum we're able to do, and I'll return more to the town cluster idea now that we're on the Overland map. So on the Overland map, we as Player Owned Town owners say, northeast, southeast, southwest, or northwest. That is what they're obligated to try to meet that commitment for our purchase. Now, specifically within those quadrants we get to try to choose. They will try to accommodate us as best they can. Now, so I went ahead and looked at this area here, Heckler being kind of a neutral environment and everything, sort of near Brittany, and so I wanted to be able to get to Brittany fairly easily. There's a control point here on the map. There's a shard fall here. This is all desert down here. So it's kind of a real mixed kind of biome area, but this is forest. So my biome is, where I want to be on the map, is forest. If I said I wanted to be southeast, I chose northeast because the north-south line is right here. But if I said southeast, I want to be forest, they might place you in one of these forested areas in the southeast.
Have they decided? I had a quick question.
Go ahead.
Have they decided how we're going to choose? Like, you have a preference of where you want to place, but maybe someone else has that same preference. Is there going to be a lottery system, or is it by when you pledged, or is there any details to that at all?
No details. Absolutely perfect question, because that may happen, and they will have to decide how they make that decision.
I'm going to jump in and give a "Don't Lure Me, Bro" answer. I talked to Star about this a few months ago, and he said that their idea was, and this is "Don't Lawyer Me, Bro" from a few months ago, so really don't lawyer him, that the idea was to do it just like the pledges. So metropolises will pick first, cities will pick second, type of a thing, just like a Lord of the Manor would pick before a Duke would for a location. But the reality is the date and the pledge size was the concept. Now that could change at any time, but that was the concept a couple of months ago that was not released public. So.
Right. So they're going to have some rule that they can consistently follow, some equation, so that everybody gets fair treatment. And I just don't know what that will be yet, but it's a concern, and they're aware of that. And the more we even suggest where we might want to be gives them an idea of how to plan that into their process. So if you're a player-owned town owner and you don't mind revealing your stuff, just go ahead and post it on the forums, put it in a player town design thread that we've got running under player-owned towns, and I'll print it out the next time I go up there and say, hey, here's a town that might want to be here. What do you think? And I'm not representing you. They're not going to talk to me about your specifics, but they'll say, oh, thanks for bringing that to our attention, kind of thing. Since I'm only 2 hours from Austin, and they've given me the privilege to go up and see them a little bit.
So I got a question to basically hit on exactly what you just said, Winfield, about you mentioning somebody else's sort of suggestion or idea. What truly is the best venue to communicate with them so that you don't need to feel like you have 12 things you need to discuss?
So the best venue is through the forums. Participate in the player-owned town threads that we've created. They are reading those, and the devs that are interested in player-owned towns, and it's not all of them, they don't all get assigned to deal with that. That's what they're kind of learning off of. We're grouping our information. Now so that's one way. So it's a bit of a passive way. You don't know if they're going to read or not. But if it's not in those threads, likelihood of them seeing it might be, hard to get to. If it's off in another forum or under crafting or something, or under town housing design or something. So utilize some of the community threads that we've created that we know are popular and contains good information. And that's one way for them to see your stuff. They are going to do a questionnaire and come out. Now, I don't know if they're going to come out first with Metropolis questionnaires and then cities after that and work their way down, or they're going to blast out questionnaires to everybody. The questionnaires will be those questions that they need to know from the online purchase, which biome, which quadrant, and then give you options for, provide a picture and all that. Now those questionnaires probably won't come out until release 19 plus, because release 18, according to STAR, is where they're building the process based on this R17 Player Owned Town test and the critique of that from all of us as well. What we think about this template idea and think about how we can submit the information. So how to get your ideas into them is kind of layered in time, but it actually has to be in some kind of orderly manner, I think, for them to take notice. I don't know if that helps answer your. How does that answer your question, or is it still insufficient?
Yeah, no, it's fine. I think it's more, people that they may invest their back in this game, but they may not be as interactive within the forums. I mean, even myself, I like to think that I'm very interactive with the forums, but there's still a lot of threads that pass me by with each day. So I mean, this effort to consult, to bring your idea with a player-owned town, whether it's a holdfast or a metro, really universally should be treated when received all the same. The priority in which it's built and its template manufacturing should, of course, there should be that priority level with how you back it. But if somebody says, I'd like to have X, Y, and Z, it should be a very simple process to communicate that to the team at Portalarium. Would it be as simple as pot@portalarium.com or something like that, a main email box that maybe the developers would consider to put together for these kinds of ideas versus, knocking down your door and saying, please present this. Because, listen, everybody gets busy. It's not fair to ask of you 13, 14 ideas. There's not enough time in the day to discuss it thoroughly and more as detailed as it should be. So, just another maybe creative way that the community could suggest something that makes it easier for a player to reach developers and developers to sort of mix it up and go, okay, we've received your message. Now it's time for us to kind of bring it to the table. Because I don't think it's constructive to ask one person that has the ability to go to Portalarium to present all these ideas. It's not efficient.
No, I agree with you. So I think you have a really good point. So for the release 18 preparation to release 18, they're going to build this process of how these towns are going to be. How they're going to do the request for information from all of us for the towns. How they may have to build more templates. What are those best template ideas? How much, what's going to be the ranking system for which ones they work on first? So after R17 rolls out, that's a portion of what they're going to have to do to get the player-owned town stuff off the ground. So what you just mentioned is, maybe they need an email address, pot@portalarium.com, to receive inputs from people. I would use your email or your contacts or through the forums or something. Shoot them that idea now, and get Star to see that. Star Long to see that, as he's the primary person conceptualizing the process, and a very busy guy, of course. But he's the one who's kind of guiding this process of how they'd be able to receive information, receive ideas, how much noise they can have in the process, how much, if they get 1,000 inputs, they have to assign a person to sort through them, obviously. If anyone are on the receiving end of something like that, how do I sort through them and all that? So if I'm in their shoes, I want to be able to receive the information, have it somewhere in a bucket that I can get through it, and then look at the relative importance of getting through that bucket amongst everything else, and go ahead and get through it. But it's better to have it than not have it.
Yeah, no, it's good points. And maybe that could be an idea of the email, is something that they, whether watching here or is suggested. Maybe that's a good idea. Hopefully they'll take that as a serious idea.
They have taken emails from people of high backer level to low backer level. Backer level, if it's a good idea and it's spot on for something that fills a gap in the community that they may not have thought about, I've seen them react. So it's good.
I'd actually, and I'm going to drop this in the Soda chat as well. I'm going to share the support at portalarium.com email. That gets filtered out to the correct dev, and you can use that for any inquiry, and then it'll get filtered to the correct dev, and then you can reply back and forth with that dev. So if you want to email them, that's their email address. But I do want to jump in and make a quick comment here. A lot of things have been around the Type A personality, player-owned town people. And I'm a Type A person, but with my player-owned town, I'm taking it completely different. I'm going to have a PvP town. The most important thing to me is that I have a place to put my swords so I can go and get them to cut somebody's head off. That's what's important, okay? I've got my priorities straight. Everything else is not a priority. Cooking, crafting is important because I need to make the swords, but having the sword is the most important thing. So to me, it doesn't matter what my town looks like. Most of the people in Vengeance really don't care. We are happy with however our town turns out. So as a week one purchaser of a player-owned town, and a person who really likes to be active in this community, I'm giving them absolutely zero input. I'm going to pick one of the templates. I'm going to cut it up from, I'm going to say, there you go, don't do anything special for me. And that's perfectly okay. If you're watching this, realize this is how much work that some people are putting into this, and you don't necessarily have to. This is more of a, we want to tell you what this information is. While we're telling you, we want to tell you how we talk to these people. It's not trying to make everybody in the community feel like, hey, if you're a player-owned town owner, you've got to go out and make all these maps and cut all this stuff up. It's more about just giving you the information. So I just wanted to throw that note in there. Keep at it, guys, however you want to go.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So there may be some player-owned town owners, and I've met a few that they just want to contribute to the game. They want to contribute to communities. They're not into micromanaging how the scene is built. They want to get it up and running, and they want to get people invited in to have fun and do things. And therefore, those kind of people should not need to go through the pain of even placing all their buildings exactly where they want. They may not really it may not matter to them, because whatever comes out, they've got a town in Novia that they can start doing something with. They have other priorities of what they want to do for community building than specifically where the specific houses are in the scene.
Hey, Winfield, I got a quick little question. I got asked. You probably don't have an answer to this, but when you were inside the inner sanctum of Portalarium Studios and doing the stuff you've been doing, do you have any tidbits to share regarding a town that's like a PvP town, and maybe any kind of meta ideas they have for that, or anything regarding what a PvP town could be and do and build, or anything that's new that we don't know? Okay,
so I've talked to them about how ideas could be used for the Paxler scene. Let me for PvP. So, Tech, would that help you if I kind of walk through how this, and we could brainstorm real quick, you and me, on how we could use this Paxler scene as, Conquered Kingdom, whatever we want to do. So let me bring it back up. And
while you're bringing it up, I'm going to throw out if we can keep the information for the player-owned towns down to the next 5 minutes, so Avatars Radio has a minute, because we're already 90 minutes in right now. So.
Oh, sure. And then at the end we can continue this. Can we not?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I'm not going to kick anybody out. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's good. So real quick, because I think the PvP part of this is extremely important. So let me go back to the template here. Oh, not there. All right, here we are at the template. So Tech, you can see that okay? I think, as it comes into focus.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So let's just make believe this is. Now, I'm not a PvPer, but I'm just, kind of an operational, strategic level kind of planner. So I would put a I'd put some kind of thing up here on this mountain. If you see my cursor moving, I would put something up here on this mountain. I'd have absolute fighting areas down here. I might have some houses that people have to maneuver around, some row lots in here that blocks off passages, and maybe I have a bunch of row lots in a square or something with a entry point that's hard to get to that becomes a place where you want to protect down in the center. You could have these bridges as choke points. And I asked the developers about this. I said, will these rivers potentially be impassable in especially for PvP, or can you swim across them? He said, well, we'll have to look at that.
Maybe it's a bunch of fire.
Exactly. They said it'll just be a huge ravine that you can't get into. You know, they could block things off, and these then definitely become choke points. So if you want to get up here, you have to go through. So there's 3 ways to get up to this castle up here. You can go around this way, and I'm sure my cursor is staggering. You can go across this bridge and across this bridge. So there's 3 bridges that are choke points across this map, with the main center of town being protected by the main kingdom castle or whatever, and all the rogues are out here trying to get in and do stuff. So Tech, let me turn it over to you, and you tell me how you think this could be used.
Oh, well, if it was for a player town owner, yeah, I mean, you can create your own scenarios. This is a great map for it, yeah. Capture the flag between those two, a lot of last man standing kind of events there in the middle. Yeah, you can create that, but I'm talking about is made ideas from Portalarium that they're going to, little kind of twists that they're going to put in to kind of create the conflict between us and guilds and other towns. Maybe regarding blessings. Is there anything regarding blessings that?
So the blessings is kind of to be determined. As far as I know, they're collecting a lot of feedback from people on good, bad, and ugly about the idea of blessings and making sure it comes out right. Your question is spot on, though. How is that going to be done? How can you make a conflict and a need to try to get in and take over that town because they got the good stuff, or they got the stuff you want? That is on their minds. I've heard them talk about it. They don't know the answers, or they have theories and all that kind of stuff. But definitely, they want. From what I see, they want to make this so realistic that there's a purpose for going to this town, or a purpose for taking over that town, or a purpose for these people interacting clear across on the other side of Nova. You have to move your entire army over there, and then you leave your town vulnerable. Who knows?
Maybe you can take over Paxlayer and then put a tax on them and tax all the businesses there, and Paxlayer would have to rise up and kick us out to not be taxed.
That's right. So maybe and maybe down the road we can make Paxlayer PvP for a week and see what happens if those features are in there, given features to the owners. I think all the ideas are out there. I think they want to satisfy all those kinds of ideas.
Okay,
somehow.
In 30 seconds, do you have any last-second player-owned town stuff to say for people who are expecting this to be 90 minutes?
Let's see. This is what Paxlayer location looks like in the game. If we get this spot, this is looking south in Novia. So you can see that there could be a lot of, this is how you're on the overland map, and then this would be Paxlayer right here where everybody's standing. So I just wanted to toss that out, that moving from map to reality is going to be so much fun. And in R17, this is where hopefully you can find us. We'll see. Thanks.
So before we possibly cut this off air, I'll let everybody here decide. But before we go anywhere else, I would like Amber Rain to talk about another really crucial part of technology with our community. Essentially, starting up over a year ago, they created a way for everybody to talk to each other and stay up to date, up to the minute with not just the music that's being made, but also the information about events. So, Amber, do you want to take over?
Thank you. And yeah, as normal, I am just the voice of the avatar because my camera is out. But yeah, as Violation just said, January 31st, 2014 is actually when we first officially went live. It wasn't actually intended to be as big as it is, but because of the community, and that's what we were built around, it became what it is. Radio of the Avatars, by the community, for the community, with the community in mind. We play earthly tracks, we'll give you that, but we play a lot of the community. Not nearly enough community music yet to do only that, but that's what we're focused on, is getting the community events out there for you to know about, to commentate on them. We also have ear music, and most importantly, what I find that is really enjoyable about the radio, and what I've heard from others is really nice, is, for example, the new Britannia theater troupe, which I am a part of, and I know so many of the community have their plays. They're done in voice over the radio, performed on stage. There's actually going to be 3 done in Paxlair in R17, 2 on a stage, Aurum Berries and Regulations, created by Wombi, and then a radio play which was created by Gabriel Nightshadow, with so many community voices together to create this being played over the radio. So that's been something that's been great. The Scholars of Novia have also had access to it, where a lot of people who write stories then have their stories read, and we air it on the radio. The other thing is we play ads, commercials, liners. If you've got events coming up, you've got a guild you want to promote, that's what we do. We got our start back then with help, huge help from Violation. This is something I'm not ever going to forget, and he's still a big part of it in ways that he will not admit, but he is still seen as a huge part of our structure. What else is there that I can say about it? Got a great, fantastic team, and a fantastic web design team right now, who, if I can figure out how to screen share, I am going to do that. I cannot figure out how for the life of me to screen share, however. This one, I think, is the one that I do it. This is our new website that was created by Killy and Broken Halo, fantastic web designers, and they created this so that we'd have a new place to look at. AvatarsRadio.com will still direct you here, as well as will AvatarsRadio.info. This is our new site with the radio here available, our schedule for when your favorite DJs are on. You can look here as well. Avatars Radio is always welcoming new voices. So if you're interested in being a DJ, you want to get more involved in the community, you're really into music, we'd welcome you as a DJ. Galloway actually can tell you just how easy it is to do it, because he was one of our DJs. And community music or writers, if you want something aired, we'd be happy to have access to that with your permission to broadcast it so the rest of the community can hear it. You just have to send that to info@avatarsradio.com. We also, I'm not sure what else I can actually say about it other than the Patreon, which, by your support, the community, we could not do it without the community. We have managed to be able to now upgrade our ability to hold more listeners. We were limited for a while there, but we are now unlimited. We have room to now hold the 2,500 of you that are there. So no more will you have, oh my God, we've capped it. No, we're not going to hit cap. So that's fantastic for you to be able to have even more people be able to hear you, and it's because of you guys that we're able to do this. So we do thank you. Without the community, we wouldn't be here, and I know that. My entire team knows that. So our thanks goes to all of you guys.
I'd like to throw out something. Earlier, the app was brought up, and it was mentioned that you could listen to the radio on the app. You mentioned your website. For those of you who do not know, there is a very cool item in the game that is called the Aether Vibration Amplifier. And while you are in Shroud of the Avatar, you can actually place one of those down as a decoration, double-click it, and listen live to Avatar's radio. So that's another method you can tune in.
And with that, that is how the plays are done in-game. The services for the Church of the Dark Star are done, and where actually yesterday, Dark Star has a saying, DLMB, don't worry me, bro. Well, yesterday on the radio during the church service, we now have, with Avatar's radio, a new saying. It's called, don't be a, yeah. We have D-Dad. Thank you to Katchen, who actually came up with that, a new motto for the radio and the church, too.
All right. So, guys, I just want to take a moment and across the people across the bottom here, you guys are the ones doing this Hangout. I essentially just wanted to facilitate it, and you guys have brought all the information. So as to going over, it's up to the community if they want to watch it, and it's up to you guys if you want to keep talking. I'm not going to hit stop broadcast until you guys say you want to hit stop broadcast. We've done these for over 2 hours in the past multiple times, but I guess I'm going to leave that up to you guys. So do you want to do a quick thumbs up, thumbs down? Do you guys want to keep going, or do you want to cut it off right now? So that's 1 up, 2 up, 3 up, 4 up. All right, looks like we're going to go. Materio, you're not sideways, buddy. You're up. I'm sorry. Everybody else voted it. So with that, I'm not going to give anybody a chance to say goodbye. You're all stuck here. You have to stay. No options, cats and all.
Cool.
Winfield, do you want to go ahead and press on with your player-owned town questionnaires? And starting with one that I don't think got fully answered yet was being able to toggle PvP on and off. Is that going to be in R17 or R18, or when should we expect to see that, and what type of controls do you expect to have as a player-owned town owner?
Okay, so let me talk a little bit about what I understand to be controls for R17. You know, they asked me how I would like to allocate lots. And they told me that, or I told them, I said, I want to be able to designate who gets certain lots. And then at times, I want to just open up lots for a land rush. Like, now this isn't specific for R17, but I want to test this possibility as well. Is I may open up a bunch of row lots or everything near the castle area. And what then happens is anybody can grab those lots on a first-come, first-served basis. So I wanted that ability. I also wanted the ability to say, well, for this particular row house, that's going to be an embassy row house for Phoenix Republic. And so I want to designate the exact character to go there or the avatar name to go into that. And then I also said, over time, if there's ever a kind of a town system similar to guild system, I would want to be able to say who are all town citizens here that own lots or might own lots or are considered citizens of Pax Lair. And they don't have to own lots necessarily. It'd be people who have proven themselves to be part of our town, and then I would say, okay, I am now releasing more lots for my smaller group of friends, basically, at a town level who can then go in and do that. And they said, so those are 3 kinds of levels of release of the lot permissions or lot allocations to people. So I think at least they're going to have a way so I can designate, you know, at 10:30 on April 30th, I'm going to be able to go to each house and say who can have this house, who can have this house, who can have this house. And hopefully it's a way that I can quickly name the person. You know, Amber Rain gets this spot, and Tech gets that spot. And I don't even have to see the individuals to do that. So I don't have to hand them something. I said if I had to meet all 133 house owners, it'll take me weeks to get every house allocated. I just want to go in and rapidly do that, and then converse with them later if they want to move around or whatever, or they don't show up. And that gives them time over X amount of period of time and no limit on time that they would have the house allocated. Anyway, those are my desires. Exactly how they implement that, I do not know. We're going to find that out soon enough, hopefully in a quality assurance dev plus test, perhaps next week when they get the QA stuff online. Don't know, but the housing permission stuff is certainly something that I think will be fairly simple, and I think it will be very useful for town owners and eventually co-owners, which I understand they're looking at from some of the stand-up notes. So that's really all I know right now about permissions on allocating the lots. Before I turn over to PvP switches, any questions on that? From
No, I actually think that was exactly what I was looking for.
Okay, so for PvP towns, they're going to give, since I'm the first player-owned town, they're going to give me a unique capability to go in and turn on and off Tech's town anytime I want for PvP. So Tech, your town, I'll be able to go in and turn PvP. Yeah, so
Now,
just because I love Tech so much.
Can you make it full loot as well?
They will give me that ability as well. I'm going to make it full loot for everybody who's not on my friends list. Okay? Everybody on my friends list, you can't loot anything.
And then the ability to ban Tech from his town.
So no,
actually, have they mentioned how about player NPC guards? Have they talked to you about NPC guards at all in player-owned town or PvP towns?
They actually have not. They right now the guards that are that'll be placed in PAX Lair operate like any NPC town guard. So the town guard standing in Kingsport is how that town guard will operate in PAX Lair.
Okay.
And I know we've suggested at the VIP forums and everything, meetings with them, a lot of ideas. I just don't think they balanced it yet, thought it through enough yet to get these other things out. They'll just go with the lowest common denominators. They'll just be guards, I think, for now. But actually, for PvP flag, I don't know. Now, I will designate PAX Lair as a non-PvP scene, and that will be the end of it right now. I don't know if in a month I can change it, if there's a cooldown thing. I have no idea. That, again, is part of that larger concepts that, especially Tech, when you were there at the visits, we gave them lots of ideas. I just don't think the time has come yet to make all those materialize. But they've got the ideas.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of things they can get creative with, and even then, like the timers of when you can turn on and off PvP. That's probably a moving target, anyways. Whatever they set it as, somebody's gonna ruin it for the whole log, and they'll have to change it and then change it again. So
there are two different things that I want to address. First off, congratulations, Envy, on town number whatever. I know it's not your first. And second off, we have a question about the radio, and I wanted to segue into this question with a conceptual conversation I had with Richard over a year ago about Avatar's radio in game. I was sitting in, I think it was over a year ago. Maybe it was just under. Anyway, I was sitting in, what expo was it? I was sitting in an expo with them. I don't remember which one it was. And I was talking to Richard and Star, and I said, what do you guys want to see? And they said, you know what we want? We want a way for the radio to be in-game as an item. We like Avatar's radio. We want it to be an item. And they gave me this laundry list of stuff. And while we were going back and forth talking about this, they wanted it to be like this steampunk item and have an in-game interface. And one of the reasons why is because they mentioned they wanted it to have a power source. And the game is going to have some sort of power, and that's what all of these towers are that you see around. That's how you power the fences that protect the NPC towns that are larger, right? There's a lot of DLMB stuff, right? We're in early development of this game. So as you get some specific answers, like you might be getting out of Amber here in just a moment, remember that just because this stuff is concept doesn't mean it's not going to change. So everything that is said here, don't take it as the ironclad final product that you're going to be getting, whether it's from the community or from Portalarium. It's all in design, and we're literally looking as not just a community, but the development team is looking at how do we make the best game for 10 years from now. You know, I want to be playing this game for the next decade. I know Winfield does. I know several other people in this channel do. We want to do this like our next long-term game that's just going to be part of who we are. And that means the developers have a lot of pressure to get this right. So they're changing stuff, as they say, on a faster pace than what most developers do, and they're scrapping stuff that, as they put it, is not in the forefront of most of the community's idea. So, Amber, do you want to take a moment and kind of break down not just how do I listen to the radio, but also how do I get Aether vibration amplifiers as you understand it for once the game gets released?
Certainly. Okay, so the question actually that started this came in from J2. It says we need a radio in every home and not just as a reward item. And right now, just right now, it is only obtainable by those that are at Dev Plus level. So if you're a developer level or above, you're going to get an Aether amplifier. However, that is not necessarily where it's going to end. There has been talks that I can't really publicize too much of, but there is a few changes that may make other people happy that aren't at that level. With that said, there are currently other ways that you can still hear the radio, because I, for one, am still on strike until everyone has a radio in their home. Okay, so with that said, we do have avatarsradio.com.info with the player on the website. You can click on that. It will, in fact, bring you to our player, so no matter where you are, in or out of game, you can connect to Avatars Radio and be able to keep up on what's going on. Also, if you're not near a computer, the Soda app created by Materio has a fantastic way to listen to the radio. I have spent so much time in and out of hospitals that without that app, I would not have a connection. So I'm really thankful for it. Bubonic, Materio, his whole team just busted their butt on it. By the way, I'm hoping Bubonic creates the art for any future radios that might be in the game, because he did a heck of a job on the Aether amplifier. With that said, I think Materio is actually going to show how it works on the app.
Hey, I had a quick question for Amber. The radio, or the amplifier, the radio in game. Has there been any information? I know we talked about it before. Of basically, if I come on somebody's property or they're on my property and I have my radio on, can we have it set to like a setting in the game where basically I automatically hear any radio that's on, because it's like 3D sound. So if you walk up towards the radio, you can start hearing it. Instead of having to walk up and click on it. If I clicked on my radio and turned it on, I want it to be like a boom box. And anybody walks by my house that already has that selected, that radio is already, I will listen to hear any sound or any radio, that they will automatically hear my radio on.
Now, I personally have liked that idea, thinking that it's great, because with having a club Radio City, which we're going to have, the best thing to do is have the music pumping as soon as you jump into the club. However, with what they're thinking is not everyone who enters your lot is going to want to listen to that radio. Not everyone is going to want to hear that. So they're giving people the option whether they want to have the radio on or not by having to double click it.
Well, no, I'm talking about an option like in the settings, game settings, like automatically hear any radio that's on. So if Amber turned on a radio, I go to Amber's house, I hear the radio that she had turned on.
That's actually a great thing, and something we should bring to the devs, I think.
Can I make a recommendation?
Sure.
Tech, can you make a forum thread inside of the developer section of the forum? And say you would like this feature added, and then anybody who is watching this Hangout, go post your feedback about it, and let's make it happen. Because I can tell you right now that if 500 people tomorrow, we see that there are 500 posts saying, we want this feature, it's probably going to be in sometime in the next couple of releases. I mean, this is a community-driven game. So, yeah, Tech, if you want to make a post,
Yeah, I'll go spam the forum.
I would actually maybe instead of being on the dev one, however, put it on the public one. The reason I'm saying that is because it's not always going to just be a dev plus item.
No, it's not Dev Plus I'm talking about. Let me do a screen share, and I'll show you the Developer Depot. I believe.
That's a different one. Okay, that's open to everybody. Got ya.
Yeah.
Was understanding. I'm sorry.
Yep, no problem.
So do you want me to demonstrate Avatar's radio streaming right now?
Yeah, throw out that app. Let's let everybody see it work.
All right, so
In the simulator.
Let me simulate it. All right. Can you hear it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, people can see you got the name of the artist, the name of the song. You've got a volume slider. You've got all the information there that you can, you can see it and you can hear it all at once. So that's your way to get it in your house if you don't have it as an in-game item. Da da da.
Okay, and for those that might be wondering why he only played a short brief is because of licensing. We can only have a short brief. We are licensed under Avatar's Radio except for in this Hangout. So by law, only a short clip. And everything Avatar's Radio is by the book. Sorry.
And by the way, the people that have had previously the iOS version of the app, it did expire last week, but I have currently a 1.1 version that is submitted. The Fruit Gods have to approve it. Once it's approved, it'll go back on test flight. That version will be the public release on the App Store once Apple deems it fully public. So,
well, not quite.
Well, for now.
I've got some questions for Materio on the app, if I can. Materio, is that okay?
Yeah. Shoot.
So I'm very interested in the maps. So holding off because the maps are morphing every release is fine. So what kind of capability? I would love to stroll through Novia and have my iPhone know where I'm at and be a Google map following me around. I mean, that might like a GPS. Okay.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want it to show me towns that I have not discovered yet. Except my avatar has discovered. Now, I'm thinking that you may or may not, I don't know, have information from the game for me. I don't log into your app and say I'm Winfield, and therefore it communicates with the game. Can you talk a little bit more about the 1.0 technology of maybe how your map information might come to get, not necessarily the interface to the game itself, but how are you approaching maps first as maybe static information that other players load through the Soda Wiki or something? And then do you have any visions for how this could actually interact with the game in 2.0?
Yeah, so Maps is kind of a very exciting feature, and there's a good reason why I've delayed it. There'll be future discussions with the members of the team, the programming team, but usually, typically the version I see being released first is really going to be your basic maps, static maps displaying areas with references, maybe points of interest, town names, etc. How it evolves, ideally, I'd like to see the maps evolve to community interaction, such as I kind of put together an idea of, like, on the iPhone, you can drop pins, like in the real world. I'm on Main Street, 100 Main Street in Boston, Massachusetts. Drop a pin. My buddy's in Cambridge. He can come right to me through Google Maps or through the Apple Maps. In the game, really, that template, that use of layers is no different. You just need a basic map, and you need a pin drop from player A and pin drop from player B, and the two could interact, not even utilizing the game. You can utilize the coordinate system outside of the game using a static map, and if I have an iPad up, for example, and I'm playing the game and I want to find my buddy, if it's in the current state where it's at right now, you would not be able to find your friend. So here you drop a pin, your buddy gets the message, and you go right to it through waypoints. That's further on down the line. Maps, if this is to be a part of the SOTA community application, I'd like it to be as interactive, as community-driven as possible, to the degree of maybe even putting in reference points by the community. Now, of course, you've got to be careful and moderate some of those, because you don't want somebody to put, crap location A. You want to have meaningful definitions of points of interest within the game. But where it goes, this is going to be a community-driven sort of effort. So ideas that come along, whether it's in my head or somebody else's, I'm going to try and do my best to put it all into the map section of the app, if it were to be within the app. This is another good reason as to why we've made the code public, because there's going to be some really good ideas that are going to come along that we may not be able to allocate the time. But if somebody puts together a great map scene or map sub-scene within the application, we could pull that in and make it a part of the public release of the app. And where it goes is really the sky's the limit. Hopefully that answers your question.
Do you mind if I show you something that Fenix 4 and I work on, and see if you think it's integratable into your app?
Sure. Fenix is a good. We've talked quite a bit, so.
Yes, that's awesome. So, essentially, what you're looking at here is the Avatar Circle leaflet app. Have you seen this before?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, this is based on Soda Wikis, and every one of these pins are actually two-way, and I only have one-way set up right now. So right now you can click on any town you want, and then you click on its name, and you'll go to the page for this in Soda Wiki. Mm-hmm. And all of these pages have these little info boxes on the right that have this town's location. Well, what's going to end up happening is, as you tag this location data, as you say, hey, this is where my coordinates are in the game, this is going to feed back to the map. I don't have that set up right now, but it's all done. It just hasn't been turned live because there's a lot of the information that isn't there, and we didn't have all these coordinates when I mapped this. All of these pins were put up before the wiki had any information on it. So we wanted to be able to give links that hovered over the correct location without knowing what those locations were. So essentially that got released with me creating an edit map where I picked a 0, 0 coordinate, dropped an image on it, clicked on it, and said, okay, what's this coordinate, and then fed that in. It's a fake coordinate. So at this point, this is a one-way, but this is the exact way that the end result's going to look, and it's going to be 100% controllable. So when PaxLayer's page on the wiki does a /lock in the game, and they put their location, say that this is their location, a pin will appear here. And when you click on that pin, it'll be just like Britannia, and they get to click on this, and it'll go right to the PaxLayer page. So with that, understanding that all that coding is done, is that usable in the app?
See, that might be a little difficult to pull the data as it's entered. There's ways to allow data to come in from edits like this, but it's all possible. It's just a matter of how you finesse the code. But the way I see it in the world of coding, really anything is possible. You just got to have the right skill sets and the understanding of how to pull it and to display it. So who knows? I mean, that right there could be a good concept to work off of.
Cool, right on. So I mean, it does the website, it does the wiki side, just missing the app side. So we just need somebody to take care of that side.
Yeah, I think Brian had a question about the app.
I do actually. Well, I'm the events guy, and I was thinking, one of the things that I would like to see in the app, and I was wondering your thought on this. Feasibility is the ability for people who are running events or the app itself to check against the community calendar and see that, hey, the Vengeance fisting tournament, the fist fighting tournament they have, or the BMC thing, or the Winfield PaxLayer meetings, if it would see events or notifications that the players could send, and then give a push update, a push notification to say that, hey, that's about to happen. to let everybody know that, or I could be like, hey, violations, drunk in the street again, everybody come over with some markers, something.
Yeah, so
violations dead in the street, actually.
Well,
good luck, buddy. Good luck.
Push notifications are definitely possible. In its current format, where it draws from the Google Calendar, it may not. So there may need to be a solution that we might need to collaborate on to allow that to happen. So when player A puts an event in place and you want to be notified by default or your settings an hour before the event starts, it pushes to your phone. I'd love to see that happen. It's just a little bit of a technical hurdle we'll have to get past, but yeah, it's possible. It's actually kind of the down the line and goal that I'd like to have. Make it as automated as possible. All right, so Amber has a question. She said that I may not like it, so shoot.
All right, so I actually have two questions. The first one you're not going to dislike. There is going to come a time when another radio station is going to come up. Is the app going to be ready to be able to hold more than one station? That's my first question.
Yeah, no, that's I like the question. Yes, it will. However, the way that it's currently designed, for example, no. I would have to create a subscene with options to allow, you select a radio station of choice, and it broadcasts. It would take a little bit of a revision, both from a user interface as well as coding, to allow multiple streams. But it's all about scalability, and I'd like to have as many options as possible. But right now, Avatars Radio provides a very good example for the community at large to work off of. And if there's a station that comes along later on down the road with the logistics and the infrastructure of how it's put in place, like Avatars Radio, we may consider it. But right now, we have one radio station.
All right, I like the answer. Second question, and this is the one he might not like because I've asked it before. You have put in so much work with this. Your entire team has. How can we, the community, compensate or at least say, hey, thank you, we'd like to donate for your time and efforts in some kind of financial or other means?
I don't know if I'm prepared to answer that. There's not a right now. There's not a need for us to solicit any kind of funding from the community. This as much effort as we'd like to put into it. Yes, it's all on our own time. So I think maybe with a little bit of thought and some conversation with the other members of the team, maybe we can have a better answer. But for right now, the way we see it is enjoy the fruit of our work. This is about the community and really projects that move forward and come to be. Hopefully they share that same sort of sentiment. So that's where I'll leave it.
So what you need to do is provide your home address or a P.O. box, your favorite flavor of beer, in a post that gets stickied on the forum.
That's right.
This is the Texas Steiner Bock beer. I love it.
I knew it.
See, I knew there was something.
Now we just need to know where to send it.
No, but I appreciate that, Amber. It's been asked many times, and for right now, we're going to release this to the public, and really the biggest, I guess, compensation that we could see is to have others take the project, take the code, and make something special for us all to enjoy. That's really where I'll leave that.
I've got a question. I put it in the chat there, but if you had the ability for people to log into your app, now I don't know the technology, whether you have to have a separate server to accept, logins and kind of things, or is it you're just connecting people to other services that they log into, like IRC? Are you basically is your app basically a passive routing system to other applications?
Yeah,
So go ahead and with that, the passive connections.
Yeah, so the app as it really stands right now is, think of it like a hub and spoke system. We've put together multiple scenes that really is what the community members are going to anyways, whether it's IRC, whether it's a wiki page, the radio, etc. So for right now, the plan is not to put together a single login custom to a user. Maybe that will happen down the road, but the way we've designed it is to kind of have a hub and spoke system for the community at large.
And that makes more sense initially on scalability. So, but what you've suggested is if we can come up with more spokes to connect to your hub, that would be extremely useful. You could go from 8 things on the front page to multiple screens. You know, I want to see Winfield's agenda, you know, his Google Plus personal calendar. You know, that could be something that I make public to people, and people could look for that if they want to go through 16 screens to get to it.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
I already have that figured out, man. It's mead, wine, beer, mead, wine. I mean, isn't that the agenda, right?
Yeah.
Fishing. You forgot fishing.
And money.
It's all for Winfield. It's all about fish.
Oh yes, the fishing, but that's all taking place overlapping the fishing, because he's got the fishing pole over here and the meat over here. So no, actually, I wanted to touch base because your spoke thing is basically what I did with Avatar's Portal so long ago, right? And you guys grabbed the Avatar's Portal RSS, if I'm not mistaken, for your guys' community pin, right?
Yeah.
So I've talked to you about this before. And I just wanted to ask this live so you had a chance to answer it for those of people that might be wondering. But when am I going to be able to throw a link directly on here to the live version that is in release for iOS and the Play Store?
Yeah, so on the Apple side, I mean, I'm hoping a couple weeks the public release will be there. Right now, the way it works with Apple is you submit a beta review, and then you allow, or you can allow up to 1,000 test users through TestFlight to participate. But Apple on the back end does an internal review of all the code, and once it's satisfactory, they come back and say, you can release this to the Apple Store, yes or no. So the version that's submitted now is to be the first public release. So hopefully in a couple weeks on the Apple side. On the Google Play side, honestly, there's a few bugs that need to be corrected. I'm not comfortable releasing it to the public fully, just because of the status. One thing I would hate to have is a multitude of negative reviews because of some bugs that can be corrected. So I'm hoping, within a few weeks after the Apple release, we can have a proper Android release. But that's something I'm going to have to talk to the team. I'm not personally developing on the Android side, so I don't want to answer and commit a date and piss those guys off because they're like, no, man, we need another month. But I'll get an answer, and I'll definitely be posting the updates more proactive in the near future.
So I wanted to take a chance to screen share an idea with you as well, and then move over to showing a site that I forgot to show earlier. So your guys' chat is the same chat that I use on Avatar Circle, so I know that you're using the same backend code. But one of the things that I do on Avatar Circle is if you are logged in, that's interesting, didn't load, but that's okay. If you are logged in, I'll try one refresh, and if it doesn't load, I'll leave it alone. Huh, whatever. It'll pull your username and fit it in here. So if you guys plan on doing some sort of a storage file, I don't know how negative it, I personally approve almost every one of my apps without paying attention to it. But if you're planning on doing a storage file, you can quickly and easily just do an excerpt script to say, what is the username, dump it, and then the next time you load that, you can draw from that username just like I drew from the WordPress. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I see you use QEIRC, and currently in the app format we are as well.
Yeah.
But I'll share with you that on the back end, the IRC, we're actually building an IRC client from the ground up. So it's not even going to be QE. It's going to be something developed within the team.
Awesome. So you guys are gonna, let me get that. So you guys are going to have that form of saving of username and whatnot, so people don't have to dump it in every time?
Ideally, that would be the goal, where we're able to program this completely custom, not relying on Kiwi or any other IRC client for that matter. That kind of feature, definitely. It's been frustrating on all of our parts to have to, every time we go to a different part of the app, we're going to go back and put our name again. It's too much. So hopefully the one that we release works well for everybody else.
That's actually the reason why I don't use it for IRC right now, because I have another IRC app on my phone that saves my name, and I'll use that for other things, but I don't use it for IRC because I've got to put in the name every single time. So
yeah, no, I hear you. It's I as one of the developers definitely don't like it either. So we're fixing it.
Cool, right on. I want to take a moment because I see that we still do have a bunch of people watching. Basically, all the different things we've talked about besides the community app appear on one page, and I wanted to share that off to people so they could see it. This is Avatar's portal. And I essentially gave, this has been up for a long time, I just don't give it any press. And I essentially gave anybody that wanted access to this the ability to post to it, and that's where that community feed comes in. And when somebody makes a post on Avatar's portal, it doesn't take you to Avatar's portal, it takes you to their post, and that's the way it's designed to work. It's supposed to be in the web world what they're trying to make in an app. But this is essentially like a quick place you can go to get a hold of all that type of information. I also, for any time you have a friend or somebody that's brand new to the game, I also have a lot of this information for new players in a shorter, briefer version of, hey, this is where you want to get started. So I wanted to take a moment and show this because it's a resource that I use all of the time when I'm helping introduce people into the game and when I'm helping with the community. They're asking me about how to get to this or that page or how to get to this or that place, and basically everything is right here. And I mean, when I say everything, I've got both of the calendars sitting on top of each other, so it doesn't matter which calendar you want to go and see, you've got them right there. And that's kind of the goal we have. We've got in-game news, we have community news. I've got the Ultima Codex site there. Fun blogs, any of the Royal Warrant sites. I mean, if you're not on this page, let me know and I'll get you added. But the goal here is the more we're connected to each other, the better it's going to be for everyone. Nobody wants to stand up on their own and try to figure everything out on their own and try to publicize on their own. And everybody in this chat, I think, has all been shoulder to shoulder with each other, and the goal has never been to stab anybody else in the back or to kick anybody down. So you'll find that anybody here, if you ask them for help, they'll want to help you, and anybody here, if you ask them for free advertising, they'll want to give it to you. That's the goal, right? Like the stuff I talked about with Rilled, he never asked me to talk about this stuff. I told him, hey, I do these hangouts. I would like to talk about your stuff. Are you okay with that? And he said, dude, are you kidding? I would love it. So now when I do these hangouts, I try to make sure I wear something different from Relics by Rilled because I have 4 of his hats. I have 2 of his beanies. I have basically, I've got everything except for the cups, and I'm ordering the cups. So I'm going to have everything from his site because that's the kind of guy I am. And it's all about we're friends. And that's really what this comes down to is our community has a whole bunch of friends. So, yeah.
I was just going to say there's 2 other things that community, really, really big for the community, really helpful. The first one, if I may, is the Mad Hermit. If you're new to the game, if you need help with videos showing you how to do things, totally go check out the Mad Hermit's videos because there are hat quests that I've tried to do. I couldn't figure it out. I watched his and, yeah, I was not lost anymore. So big thanks to all the work he puts into things, as well as there you go. He's Violation is showing that for us. Definitely big on that. Of course, the other one would be the Caverns.net. Style Tech and the troop over there do a lot of really hard work. So both of those are really big for the community, and a lot of thanks to them.
Winfield here. I would like to add a couple of things to that. Amber, you're spot on. And meeting those people, those 2 individuals, Style and Mad Hermit personally, is just refreshing how devoted and dedicated those people are, and people like them to bring things together and basically give stuff out for their services out for free for everybody. But that's indicative of this larger, this more I don't know, a seasoned community of players that we have in Shroud of the Avatar. We've done Ultima Online for 17 some odd plus years. We continue to be there. And in our first month, we had to stand up a website. I made the website look like San Diego, so it would look like a realistic town. I learned PHP programming by force. I had to learn JavaScript. I had to do all this because we needed a town. So, and now, flash forward 15 years, there's a lot of skilled people in this arena in 2015 that can offer their services to others to create fantastic portals, to create fantastic apps. I don't have to make a Paxlair app. I'll go to Materio. I'll try to add pieces of it so he can support Paxlair in some way, shape, or form if I come up with another hub or another spoke that he can add in there. I don't want to have to try to do it myself or people with input. So we are in 2015 now with so much, 10 plus years of technology, and people are getting smarter of how to work together better, not work together harder. I see the integration of our skill sets being more extremely important for us to spend more time on what we enjoy doing, and a lot of people working to help us connect a lot of our ideas. I would like to help stand up and run a player town. I've done the webmastering stuff in the past. I've done the keep track of resources. So I'm like, well, let's see if we can't do this smarter in 2015 than we had to in 1998. And I'm just from an older guy now, retired from the military, Air Force, back in 2005. I'm like, what am I going to do for the next 10 years? I want to see this culture of people working so well together on technology and ideas that we leverage off each other in so many ways, from radio to video to in-game news to out-of-game news to PvP contests going on, clashes going on, whatever it takes, just to see how we can pull all that together technology-wise and cultural-wise and just have a blast with it. Ideas?
No, you're right. I mean, that's yeah, you're exactly right. The way we had to do it back in 1997, old Ultima Online days, seems so long ago, but it really wasn't. But now here we are with technology that's right at our fingertips, and ways to do things, to automate process and to tie things in. It's simpler now. It's just a matter of laying the foundation for others to work up off of, and hopefully these current examples can prove worthy for the people that come to this game further on down the line once it's become public, or it's a public release, and they see that and go, wow, I could make a better app. Good. You know what? That's awesome. Make a better app, because if it's going to serve the greater public at large, if it's going to unify people, bring people together, and make it fun, awesome. I've accomplished my mission, you've done yours, and everybody else that has put that foundation in place can all say the same. And honestly, that humbles me.
And you are so spot on about that. That's actually the same reason why I brought up the whole if there's more radios that come out, because we're not the only ones that can do this, and there are varying types of listeners who want to hear different things, and the community as a whole has the foundation for certain things and the teachers that can teach you how to do it. So we should definitely be doing what we're doing and leveraging off of each other, promoting each other, and helping each other out.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else to talk about, this guy's gonna go take a break because we've been streaming for 2.5 hours. So, you guys want to say goodbye?
See ya.
Amber, do you want to say anything?
All right, my biggest thing that I want to say is D-bad. Don't be a dick to your fellow community member because we're all in this together, and I want to thank you all for allowing me to be a part of it too. Love y'all. Mwah.
Down the list, anybody have any comments? Feel free.
No, I've said my piece. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your time. Again, if you need to get a hold of me for whatever reason, I'm easily found. Material on the game, material on the forums, material@hotmail.com. You'll find me.
I would just like to say thank you all for your time, and I appreciated being here. And also remind everyone with the PAX Layer rollout next month, go out to PAX Layer, go to the events, take part, contact Winfield, see how you can help, and let's make this a really big event for everyone.
Yeah, and I want to thank everybody for all the support to this Player Owned Town test and PAX Layer. It's been an extremely positive experience with the community and with the developers. I walk into it with my eyes wide open, and it was scary as heck to go up to developers and kind of say, well, what I want, what they want, and what the community wants. It's a lot of scariness for me. It's a lot of fun, of course, to see those things, but I just feel like there's a lot of great expectations out there. I don't want to let anybody down. So I'm doing all the best I can for everybody, just like everybody in this chat is doing something the best they can for people who are connected to them. And Violation, thanks for putting on this hangout to allow us to kind of voice those kinds of ideas to everybody. So thank you.
No problem. And here's my goodbye. Community, I don't know if you've bought the game or not yet. For my sake, I hope you do, because I want to play with you. I love to play with people online in online environments. I'm not a single-player type of a gamer. And I want to see this be an online multiplayer game. That being said, this does have a single-player mode, and it's going to be awesome. There's going to be great features to that, so there's that too. But me, I came from UO, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to cater to that. I'm going to say, if you haven't got it yet, it's going to be the best money you ever spend in your life. You don't have to go crazy. They're going to make this game playable and enjoyable for everybody that's down at the low tiers. How do I know that? Because I just talked on the phone to one of the devs a couple of days ago, and they told me that 93% of backers are below the housing level. They know that. They know the player base is down there. And they are okay with that. They're not looking to get people to spend millions. So keep in mind, they're not money-hungry people that are trying to bleed you dry. They're approachable. The next thing I'm going to say, and the big thing here, is be professional. If you want to talk to a developer and you want them to respond back to you, and you start out with throwing expletives or derogatory comments or ripping their work apart, these guys are really mature. They'll probably get back to you anyway, but you won't get as good of an experience. It is human nature that we will respond better when we treat people with a professional demeanor. So when you're talking to the devs, for the fact that they're human, just try to be nice. Try to, when you send them a message or talk on the forums, use your manners, use your please and thank yous, don't call names, and with your fellow community as well. I look forward to meeting you all in game. I'm going to be Violation. The Duke is going to be dropped from my name here in the next couple of releases, whether or not they have the titles in. I am a Duke backer. That's where the Duke comes from. So anywho, that's me. I'm going to go ahead and end now. See you guys later.